Okay, we're going to do a quick demo of AutoValue AI with all of its new features that have been added over the last couple of months. It's been about 2 months since I've done one of these videos, and I wanted to show you all the new features that we now have. And so we're currently looking at the detail screen inside AutoValue AI. We would have already clicked on a vehicle to see these details, and here we can actually see the images and see exactly what the auctions are listing for sale and what is there visibly from the pictures. Those pictures have already been analyzed for good and bad choices, all the bad parts have all been flagged as bad automatically. All the good parts have been flagged as good. The interchange number has been run through the VIN has been run through a VIN decode to determine the interchange number, and we are above 93% positive that this is the correct interchange number. If we have a fear of less than 93% accurate, we put a red triangle over to the side to say you ought to look at this. The interchange number is a clickable link where you can do a search for that now. And so you actually can run over and do a search for that by clicking that interchange number. If you feel like that interchange number is wrong or wanted to edit it, you could click the pencil here beside it to change the interchange, and it's telling you that there are 6 alternate interchanges that have been found. But if there's no red triangle over to the left of it, we're fairly certain that this is the correct interchange number already. You'll occasionally see one with a red triangle. That's where we don't know for sure what's going on with that particular part, and you may need to validate that interchange number. The quantity on hand, sales, and demand data is all coming from your PowerLink, Pinnacle, or Checkmate system, same as the standard price, average invoice amount, average asking price. Those are all coming from your unique system. And you'll notice that if you don't have one in stock, let's see, quantity on hand is 0, so therefore your average asking price is going to be 0 because you don't have one. You do have one in stock, then this is displaying what your average part price is for that particular part. Now you can hover over the quantity that you have, and it shows you all of your inventory details. So if you've got a question related to what you've got in stock or how old it is, that is visible there just by doing the hover over. Your 90-day sales, again, is your quantity sold in the past 90 days. And again, you've got a quantity above 0, then you would also have an average sell price over here to represent that. And so that would be an average of what those were sold for in the past 90 days. The 90-day demand, of course, is still pulling in external demand requests that are coming through generic systems, external from your PowerLink, Pinnacle, or Checkmate system. And so we now can tell you exactly what the high demand is for the area around you. The Einstein price would be if you subscribe to the Einstein pricing tool and you have that part type activated, this is the price that part would display inside your inventory once it was inventoried. The average regional price is simply running a locate to see what the average asking price is around you for that same part. And so very simple there. And then you've got the adjustments where you can configure for, you just have you want to devalue a part type like a rear bumper, you can devalue by whatever percentage that you want. If you've got an adjustment for age related to the potential of rust, you could do that. You've got a discount potential for mileage to cover mechanical parts for high mileage. And if you wanted to have a core charge added to the value of the part in order to run that price up, you definitely could do that right there. We then ultimately have a projected sale number as to what we think this part's going to sell. This is a configurable setting as to what the source is going to be. And you can see the number 3 source right here, and you can hover over and it will tell you exactly what that source is. Average asking price is what that is the number 3 setting. That's a configurable setting as to what the projected sales value needs to come from any of these 5 fields before, and you will prioritize those in the settings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as to how you want that to work. You even can choose average, minimum, and maximum also if you'd like to. So that projected sale number also is adjusted based on the likelihood of that part to sell. If you're creating duplicate inventory, it's going to run down automatically. And so the projected sales are then summed up for all the parts that are good. And you also have an extra parts number added in here based on a setting that you configure and how you want that to calculate, ultimately saying about $10,300 worth of parts are projected to sell off the vehicle. And then we come up here to the top, and we've got that same $10,300 here, minus a configurable setting that you would put in place for how much profit you want to make on a vehicle that has $10,300 worth of parts on it. And that setting is a configurable setting. And then we have a deduction to cover for the fees the auctions will charge, and a deduction to cover for transportation costs. And so these numbers are all here. So then basically all of these numbers can all be uniquely customized for you. We ultimately are saying this is a recommended bid for this particular vehicle. Now you have the ability to put in a planned bid amount and say, I'm willing to bid $5,000 for it. You type in your 5,000, and then you can flag that vehicle as pending, okay to bid, bid placed, one pending, one final, or lost. If you wanted to exclude the vehicle, you could also exclude the vehicle. I'm going to flag this one as okay to bid for this example here. And so it then is stored as okay to bid. If you wanted to actually place the bid as a pre-bid, you can click place bid here. It takes you directly to the listing on the auctions website where you could place that bid right there. And so you still are responsible for manually placing that bid. We do not bid on your behalf yet. And so you do that. If you have Carfax or VinMatch Pro account, you can make this link here link to either of those two. So you could click that link and it runs a vehicle history report for you. So you've got those details there. If you wanted to filter the vehicle out, you could of course do it by clicking the excluded button or clicking the red filter out this vehicle. Details there. That is pretty much it. We do have this new feature here, similar vehicles. When I say similar, it's going to be the first 8 digits of the VIN match, and they're selling in the next couple of days. You then could click details and jump over to a very similar vehicle if you're trying to find one that's equipped just like this. That's pretty much. Oh, let's talk about the AI index scores. The AI index scores are calculated for each part based on your supply and demand. And so what is your quantity on hand compared to your demand? And then the AI index score is higher for the parts that you need and lower for the parts that you do not need. This example here, you pretty much need every part on this vehicle here. An example where we have low demand or maybe a higher quantity on hand, you'll have a much lower AI index score. These numbers are configurable by you as the user as to how high you want them to be. And we sum up all the AI indexes for all the good parts. Notice the bad ones all have 0. We sum up the AI index for all the good parts and then give you an AI index score at the very top here. This number is a good representation of your level of need for all the parts that are good on that vehicle. Keep in mind that all this analysis work is done for every vehicle in North America for you, and you do not have to go do any of this manually. All this work is done manually. However, if you wanted to override something for some reason, you could toggle one to exclude or bad if you wanted to. And so you absolutely could manually override if you wanted to. You also could manually override the interchange selection if for some reason you wanted to. The score up here, notice this one has a score of excellent. This is a projected break-even days, a projected dollars of profit, and a projected percentage of parts that are expected to sell off of the vehicle uniquely for you. And we've broken them into 4 different classifications: excellent, good, fair, and poor. There is a 5th one for N/A, not available, where we didn't have enough information to calculate it for you. But basically, if you're buying on the upper end, the good or excellent recommendations, those vehicles will be more profitable, break even faster, and ultimately help you meet your goal of increasing profits and sales for your business. Go back to the summary page here. We click on the summary page. You can see that we put a planned bid amount in for this particular Silverado for the $5,000, and that we have flagged this one as okay to bid. Here on this page, you could click another vehicle. You click on that other vehicle, it brings that particular vehicle up for you to review and see if you agree. There's a good idea right there where there's a triangle. And so not completely certain of that interchange number. And you could then click the pencil, run in, and validate that interchange number is correct. We are roughly 99% of the time we don't have the triangle. 1 or 2, 3% of the time we will have a triangle there, or we're not completely certain of it. Again, this vehicle here, you could exclude this vehicle. You know, let's just exclude this one from here so you can see how it works. Exclude, and then we go back to the summary page, and that particular vehicle has now disappeared off this list because we've excluded it. Let's take this one here and exclude it from this page, and it has disappeared from this list. Those vehicles that we exclude are populating over in the filtered out tabs. There's the 2 vehicles that we have excluded. We go back to the bid summary, and again, we're sorted by the AI index score. The higher the AI index score, the more you need those good parts that are on the car. And again, the grade is displayed here, the higher potential for profit and break-even days. Now we click on another vehicle, bring it up, and we actually also are now displaying the projected break-even days right there for you and how fast we expect it to break even for you. And so again, that's a new feature also. It's fairly new. Also, now you can just double tap here and flag stuff as okay to bid from this screen here, or you could single tap to leave it as pending. You could triple tap and go to exclude. And so triple tap goes to exclude, and that row disappears. Double tap goes to okay, double tap to okay, so forth and so on. Now also, you now have the live bid view. And so the live bid view shows you all the vehicles that you have flagged as okay to bid and all the details associated with the lane A, lane B, and the run numbers, the scoring, and all the numbers are here all populated for you. Current high bid is there, is displayed there for you. Your planned bid would be displayed here if you populated that also. There's one where we populated it right there. And so those, that is a new screen, and you also can print these here. Click print a second time, and you actually can get this printed out, one page for lane A, another page for lane B. And so very simple to print that out. So if you're going to be working that auction live, you've got all the data that you need to make that make those bids. I'm going to go back and flag these back just as being analyzed, and so you can move them back to analyzed. You can move them to filtered out. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just going to move these back to analyzed in this example here. And so there was, what, 8 or 10 of them there. And so as I move those back to analyzed, you'll see those are gone. We go back over to live bid, and now there's no vehicles there because they only display in live bid if they have been flagged as okay to bid. The filtered out vehicles, I can go back here and move those back to just being analyzed, and those will disappear off the filtered out and go back to the regular list. So that is there for you. All right, let's talk about the filters. The filters can now be collapsed by clicking on the row. Filters collapse. Let's do a clear all right here and display some more vehicles over and filtered out. All right, so there's the good view. Let's expand the filters, and then we could add 1 or 2 filters at a time to kind of show you how it works. Notice in this example here, we're seeing everything that's selling in the future, stuff that's selling today, tomorrow, 2 or 3 days in the future, and they're in different sites. And so we see New Orleans, Jackson, Mobile, Lafayette, Baton Rouge. What we could do now is we could come up here to the auction drop down and actually choose the particular auction you want to look at. And so you could choose a single auction and look at that particular auction. But then, yeah, so there is some vehicles right there for that particular auction. What we've seen a lot of people do, though, is leave this on all, and then they just go to the auction date here and choose tomorrow's date. And now the list that's displayed below is everything that's selling tomorrow. But you'll see it's still mixed together with New Orleans, Jackson, Lafayette all mixed together because this particular user is going to be bidding in all 3 of those auctions. And so you can analyze all the vehicles together, looking at the cream of the crop sorted by AI index score on the very top, picking out the best of each of those auctions all on a single screen. And still, whenever you click the live bid, they're broken down according to which auction you need to work. You now have the ability to filter by grade, where you could choose excellent, good, fair, and poor. The AI index scores, you can do minimum and maximum. We now have the ability to search by a Hollander number. So let's say that you had a particular Hollander interchange number and you had the need to broker a particular part. You could come here to the Hollander interchange number here, paste the number in there, looking for all auctions coming up in the future, and we can see that that interchange number is on 2 cars coming up. And then we ultimately can say, I need to find it tomorrow. You put in tomorrow's date, and now both of these are available tomorrow, one in Lafayette, one in New Orleans, that both of these vehicles are equipped with that particular part. So that's a new feature there to search by Hollander interchange number. Status type is simply going to be, if you flagged it as okay to bid or won or excluded or whatever, you could filter by that status to bid. Some other filters, I'll quickly run over them. You can filter by year model, you can filter by mileage, you can filter by ACV, you can filter by recommended bid amount, you can filter by maximum or by title type. You got all the different title types you could choose, the seller type, what seller you're looking for, two-wheel or four-wheel drive, model names. New feature here, you now can filter by make. If you're a specialist that specializes in one particular make, you can do that. That was just added this past week. Maximum number of projected break-even days, you now can filter by that. Maximum distance from you to where the vehicle is stored, that would be the storage location as to where it's actually stored. How far is that? Pretty cool feature here. We recently did maximum number of unique lot numbers. Let me just sort by that, find something. There's one with 3 times it's been flipped before. You now can click on that 3 and you can see the pictures of what that vehicle looked like, along with the date and lot number of where it was sold before. And the lot numbers are shortcuts where you could jump over and see all the details for that. Let's see if there's one where there's actually damage beforehand and afterhand. You can see where this vehicle actually got burned. And so now it's burned up, but you don't have mileage in the listing here. You can look back and see when it sold before. It had 174,000 miles on it though. So pretty cool feature there for you to look back on that. We've actually seen most people turn that filter on to 1, so they're not seeing vehicles that have been flipped like that. Okay, and any other filters here to talk about? Engine, distance, current bid. You now can filter out if the current bid is higher than the recommended bid amount. You can make that auto filter out. And so the current bid is 10% higher than the recommended bid. It could automatically filter it out so you don't waste your time looking at it. Also, with the buy it now prices now coming in, with the recommended bid right beside it, you can run down the list and find an item where the buy it now price is less than the recommended bid amount, so you could jump on that and buy it immediately. And again, just like every time before, you can just click directly on the lot number right there. It takes you straight to the listing to go bid on that particular vehicle. The export features still work exactly the same. Whatever is displayed on the screen. So in this example here, we've got 2,051 items here. We're only displaying 12 of them though. So if we hit export to Excel, we're only going to see 12. If you want to see more, then scroll down and put that number to what number you need to export, and then you could click Excel and it will download that list of vehicles. This is going to be 12 of them here to an Excel spreadsheet. And boom, there is the document of all those 12 vehicles exactly laid out, and all your information you need is right there for it. Whatever you were needing to do, everything is on that for those vehicles. Then the tabs across the top are configurable as to which auctions and what filters would be applied to which auctions. And when you click on a tab, the filters and the auction drop down gets updated. And when you watch where I click back on my auctions, the filters go back to what the defaults are based on the configurations and the settings to display those particular filters and apply them automatically. Also, the drop down list of auctions is configurable for each tab. Also, notice we now have manufacturer auctions and private seller. Private seller is the newest feature we just added. And so when you're on private seller, you ultimately can allow a John Doe public to submit pictures of their vehicle to you to bid on through a portal we're calling AutoValueAI. So you could text a URL or paste a URL link on your website that would allow the John Doe public to have this link, and then it walks them around taking 8 pictures of the car and then a picture of the odometer and a picture of the VIN plate so that we get the correct VIN. We do all the work to analyze those pictures, decode that VIN, come back with a recommendation for you on that John Doe public vehicle as a private seller. And so it would pop up here. You get a text message and email also saying you've got a vehicle to bid on, and you could actually bid on those private seller vehicles. There's also, for guys that are a hybrid yard, now a recommendation as to if that vehicle should be bid on using a self-serve bidding model or a full-serve bidding model based on the level of need for each of the parts that vehicle has on it. Now you also have the ability to have 3 different bidding methods now. Again, a new feature that we just rolled out this week. And when you're in the settings and you go over to bid calculations, we now have bid method A, B, and C, and these can be configured differently. If you'll notice that C is completely different, where we're bidding based on more of a self-serve yard and how those parts would need to work. And so look for that there, and you now can configure that separately. I'll create another video on how to configure that. But also that change allowed us to, from the auction groups page now, you now have a default bid method for each particular auction. So if you're choosing particular auctions, you can say bid method A, B, or C, because I'm going to be buying a different quality of vehicle from that. And so even the private seller, you now have the bid method that you want to use for that private seller, and how we're going to calculate the transportation cost of a flat fee plus a cost per mile as to how far that vehicle is located from you. And so we've even added the cost per mile into these others. So if you have a flat fee plus a cost per mile, you could populate that for when you're bidding and buying from other auctions, even that may be close or local to you. And so that's a new setting there also. Fairly new is the ability, which beds have been here for a while. We convert 2 good bedsides into a bed assembly, but now we've got a new feature. If it's a CVT transmission, we can make it default to 0 value. We had a big request to try to get that in there, where CVT transmissions get devalued down to 0. Bottom of this page is where the rust discounts are, and so we call it old age, but this only affects sheet metal parts. And so if you wanted to discount the parts on the vehicle that are the sheet metal related parts based on the age of the vehicle to cover the possibility of rust or corrosion, that there is there now. And to activate that for a particular auction, you actually have to go to auction groups and check the box that says apply old age discounts. Again, this is applicable per auction, because as you go further north and buying from the north, you of course need to apply rust discounts. But if you're in the north and buying from the south, you do not. So it's applicable for each auction site uniquely. Under the general tab, I don't think there's anything major new here. Yeah, we now have the ability to exclude C-grade parts and exclude certain store numbers if you're a multi-site facility. Also, that regional price locate that we're doing can now be broken down into 5 different regions of the country as to how you want that to work for the locates. I don't believe auction groups, we've been through that, showing the new bid method. Notifications, where we can actually trigger an email to go to you if the buy it now price is less than the recommended price. We can trigger an email so you can jump in there and bid on that vehicle. And then we've already touched on the bid calculations. Nothing really has changed here. Some people may not have seen this, but this has been out for a couple of months. The mileage discounts can now be applied for higher mileage units to discount those mechanical parts for the higher mileage. The part valuation is now its own tab where you can select which priority, which field has the priority when selecting what the suggested selling price will be. And so you can drag and drop these to how you want them to be, and they will reorder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, renumber, and that correlates with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that's displayed right here. Third choice. There's probably some that are first or second. There's a second choice right there, and so you can see how that kind of correlates right there. And the filters, of course, this is where you can control how the filters are defaulted. So when you bring up that particular tab, this is the filters I'd like to have auto applied, and you've got all 5 tabs across there where you can predefine what the filters will be for those particular tabs. And again, set it the way you want. You click save. One other tidbit, Over on the auction groups, this is where you select, I want a particular auction to appear in the My Auctions tab, the extended auctions, ultra extended, or the manufacturer auctions. And so you can select those as to where you want those to appear for each of the tabs there. That's pretty much it. There'll be a link associated with this video also where you could request a private one-on-one demo. I'll be glad to jump on a call and show you exactly how it works and answer a bunch of questions. Appreciate your time. Thank you.